I have merely offered a rough outline of my own experiences. I did so solely out of solicitude, hoping that my story might serve as some frame of reference for you. You are all poised to leave the academy and step out into the world. For some, this transition is still distant. For others, it is imminent. Regardless, I surmise that you are liable to fall into the same cycle of angst that I once traversed, even if the specific forms it takes may differ. I suspect there are those among you who yearn to break through a barrier but cannot, who attempt to grasp something solid only to find it as elusive and slippery as a polished kettle, leaving you in a state of exasperation. Of course, those of you who have already hewn your own path are exceptions. Nor do I claim there is anything wrong with following in the footsteps of others and finding satisfaction in well-trodden paths, provided that is, that such a life is accompanied by genuine peace and confidence. However, if that is not the case, you have no choice but to take up your own pickaxe and dig until you strike ore. I say you must, because if you fail to dig it up, you will be condemned to a lifetime of unhappiness, languishing in a state of limbo, never quite finding your footing in the world. I labor this point entirely for that reason, not because I intend for you to model yourselves after me. Even a humble individual like myself possesses the conviction that I have forged my own way. Regardless of how trivial my path may appear to your eyes, that is merely a matter of your observation and critique. It inflicts not an iota of damage upon me. I, for one, am content. But simply because I have derived confidence and peace from this process, you must not misunderstand and assume that my specific trajectory should serve as a model for yours. Setting that aside, I surmise that the kind of inner turmoil I experienced is something that likely afflicts many of you as well. What do you think? If that is the case, then for those of you pursuing learning or receiving an education, isn't it absolutely imperative to push forward until you strike something solid? Whether it takes a decade, 2 decades, or becomes a lifelong endeavor, you must keep going. Ah, here lies the path I was meant to walk. I've finally unearthed it. It is only when you can shout such an exclamation from the very depths of your soul that you will truly find peace of mind. Along with that cry, won't an unshakable confidence, one not easily shattered, begin to rear its head within you? Perhaps there are many among you who have already attained that state, but if there are those still languishing in the fog, agonized by uncertainty, I believe you must press on until you strike that gold, no matter the sacrifice involved. I am not suggesting this solely for the sake of the nation, nor am I speaking on behalf of your families. I say this because I believe it is absolutely fundamental to your own personal happiness. If you have already traversed the path I walked, then so be it. But if you still feel some obstruction, some lingering doubt, you must march forward until you have trampled it into the dust. Admittedly, you may not know how to proceed, but precisely because of that, you have no choice but to keep moving until you collide with your answer. I have no intention of imposing preachy advice upon you. Yet when I consider that this discovery might become a cornerstone of your future happiness, I simply cannot remain silent. To drift aimlessly, harboring a spirit as spineless and amorphous as a sea cucumber, lukewarm, indecisive, wavering between this and that, is that not an unpleasant way to live? If you tell me it doesn't bother you, then there is nothing more to be said. Or if you say you have already transcended such discomfort, that is well and good. I sincerely pray that you have indeed transcended it, but I, for one, could not escape that state until I was well past 30, long after leaving university. That suffering was, to be sure, a dull ache rather than a sharp pang, but it was an undeniable pain that gnawed at me year after year. Therefore, if there is anyone among you afflicted by the same malady I had, I cannot help but earnestly hope that you will forge ahead with valor. I say this because I believe that if you can reach that point, you will discover the place where you can finally plant your feet firmly, and in doing so, you will seize a peace of mind and self-confidence that will last a lifetime.